Hello and welcome to Mrs. Jones Teaches About Rational Numbers. Now, I've given you guys in class this paper right here, so we're going to go ahead and just take notes on this. We can glue it or staple it into our notebook at a later time. So what we're going to do is we are going to first, across the top of our page here, we're going to label it rational numbers. So first, let's define what is a rational number. Now, rational numbers is a group of numbers and it includes a lot of things. It includes all of our counting numbers, including our negative counting numbers, but it also includes when we have decimals and, yes, fractions. So what we're going to do today is two things. First, we're going to review some basic concepts about fractions before we start working with them. And then we're going to go over all of our operations, adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing with negatives. But this time, we don't need to just have the counting numbers with positives and negatives. We need to include negative decimals, negative fractions. And what happens when I get a problem with those in it? Okay? So let's start with reviewing how to rewrite a mixed number, okay, a number with a whole and a fraction, and we need to switch it into an improper fraction. This process helps us when we need to add or multiply. Sometimes we need to get out of this mixed number state. Okay, so what we're going to do is I'm going to choose one of these here. Let's go ahead and just start with number 1. And we are going to dissect. What is a mixed number? Well, if we were talking about pizza, which is my favorite thing to talk about with fractions, we would need to remember that this is 6 whole pizzas, the whole circle, and 8 slices out of 12. Okay? So, if I were to rewrite this as an improper fraction, I need to think of it as though, okay, here's one pizza cut into 12. For one pizza, I ate 12 out of 12. For 2 pizzas, there's 2 pizzas. Get it? There's 1. There's 2. There's 3. There's 4. You're getting what I'm doing. There's 5. And there's 6. There are 6 whole pizzas cut into 12 slices. And I had all 12 out of 12. But I didn't just have 6 pizzas. I had 6 and 8 out of 12. Ooh. So I need to go ahead and add on that 8 out of 12. You see how this works? If I add up all of the whole pizzas plus the part pizza that I had, it'll tell me how many slices I had. Now, I need to remind you that in fraction world, because all of these pizzas are cut into 12 slices, that's going to stay our denominator. Now, I just need to add up all these numerators. How many slices did I eat? Well, I ate 12 plus 12, 6 times. So I'm going to go right here and say I had 6 times 12. And then I need to go ahead and add this 8 piece right here. So if I was talking about pizzas cut into 12 slices, I ate 80 of them. That is so many pizzas. Now, as we went through that the long way, I'm hoping that you remembered something that kind of looks like a circle or, yeah, where you take the bottom number, 12, and you multiply it by the whole number right there. Okay, this is kind of like a little circular thing. Because I had 12 6 times, right? We did that. Then you needed to add the numerator. You guys remember doing that? You take the bottom number times the whole number and add your numerator right there, and that's how I got 80. So it was 12 times 6. Do that first, and then I can add the 8. And that's how I did it. That's the round, the roller coaster, whatever you called it. Let's do it the shortcut way one more time together, just to make sure you remember how to do this. And if you like the longer way because it makes more sense to you, cool, I'm fine with that. Now, let's take this guy right here. We're going to do 60 times the whole number, which is 4. Then we're going to add 24. That should give us our new numerator. So let's do that real quick. 60 times 4 plus 24. So my numerator on these pizzas, I ate 264. Whew, that's a lot. But the pizzas were broken into 60 pieces. All right, there you go. And that's how to convert from a mixed number to an improper number. Go ahead and do the rest on your own. Pause, and we'll pick up together on number 8. Okay, now let's go ahead and do the opposite thing. Now we're going to take this improper fraction and we're going to put it back into a mixed number. We like to do this at the end of a problem so it looks nice and neat. The easiest way to think of this is to remember that this line right here means division. This is just one big division problem. Okay, so when I'm dividing, I'm going to go ahead and set it up so the 36 is being divided by 30. Okay, 30 is going to go into 36 one time, but there's going to be some leftovers, right? And that's your fraction. 1 times 30 is 30, and you've got 6 left over. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that this 6 right here becomes the numerator. Okay, so you've got the 1, and it came from here. 6 becomes the numerator. Okay, so I'm going to circle it and say it goes right there. The denominator is what the denominator used to be. We didn't change it at all. So this is 1 6/30. There, we are now a mixed number. Excellent. Try these on your own and come back on number 15 together. Go! Okay, now that you've got some fraction basics, we are going to start using our add and subtract rules with decimals. Okay, remember our add and subtract rules are same signs add and keep the sign, and different signs subtract and keep the sign of the bigger. We're going to still use those rules even when we have decimals in front of us. Now I'm going to show you how to use a calculator to help you with the math, but remember, you gotta be the one to do the positives and negatives and stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at number 15 together. As I look at it, I immediately notice that we have one of them is a negative, one of them is a positive. That means we're going to be using different signs subtract. So what I'm going to do is set up a subtraction problem. Okay, you all know that you want to subtract the bigger number first. So we're going to take this guy right here, and I'm going to do 6.08, and I'm going to minus 0.103. Now, I could do it on paper, but I'm going to put it in my calculator. So here we go. 6.08 minus 0.103. Make sure to get your decimal in the right spots. So my answer is 5977. And a lot of you are like, yay, we're done. But no, we need to make sure that we get the negative or the positive correct. So let's use our rules and say, which one of these is bigger? Well, the negatives are definitely bigger. So my answer is going to be a negative answer, just like we did before. So that's how to do different signs subtract Let's see if we can find a same signs add on this worksheet. Let's see here. Oh, I see one on number 19. They're both negatives. That means these are same signs add. So I'm going to go ahead and just add these two numbers together. Again, I'm going to use the help of my calculator because I can. And I'm going to type in 3.4. Notice I'm not doing anything with the negatives. I'm going to do that later. And 6.6, I added them together, and I got 10. Now, according to same signs add, when I add negative numbers, that means we're getting more negative. So my answer should be negative. Keep the sign. Voila. All right, pause the video and do 15 through 21, and then come back so we can do number 22. Go. All right, now that you're back, look, there's fractions. I know you're so excited. So this fraction right here, we are going to be again using same signs add or different signs subtract. Okay, so you look and you're like, okay, here's a negative and here's a positive. So we know we're going to need to use different signs subtract. But I also hope you were noticing that these are not common denominators. And we can't add unless they're common denominators. So fun for us, we get to fix it. Yay! All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to end up multiplying each of these fractions by something to make a common denominator. So I'm going to want these to be the same. The easiest way to do this without breaking your head over the lowest common denominator is just to multiply these two together. 7 times 3 is 21. That means for the first fraction right here, I multiplied the 7 times 3, and I'm going to multiply the 4 times 3. So if I rewrite the new fraction, I now have 12, because 4 times 3 is 12, over 21. And this is still negative. Now, we're going to do the same thing to the other side. Make sure that it also has a denominator of 21. Well, we multiplied 7 by 3 to get 21. So we need to multiply 2 by 7. And that gives me 14. Okay, now we're ready for the rules. Because we have the common denominators and it's going to be 21. Remember, when you add them together, the denominator stays the same. So we're going to look at this negative 12 and a positive 14 and use different signs subtract. 14 minus 12 is 2. And because 14 is bigger, I know that this needs to be a positive answer. There, I'm done. All right, try a few fractions on your own and come back on number 29 and we'll work together. Go. All right, so when you see these decimals and fractions with subtraction problems, what I want you to remember is you need to rewrite them. Okay, you can see on the first one I rewrote it, and on the second one I rewrote it. And then you'll just use the addition rules like you're used to. Same thing with fractions, get a common denominator so you can add or subtract as necessary. Go ahead and practice on those.